We've been a country that has, over the last 100 years, let's say, absorbed migrations into this country. We've been a refuge for asylum seekers. One thinks of Jewish people coming from Russia, coming from Germany. One thinks of what happened in Uganda in the early 1970s. And you think of all those things and you compare race relations in this country with the rest of Europe, and we've had a record of which we could be very, very proud indeed. We've actually been quite good at assimilating different groups of people into this country, until the complete and utter madness of what happened just 3 years ago, of totally opening up our borders to hundreds of millions of people living in very poor East European countries, and saying to them, as many of you who want to come and live in the United Kingdom as want to come can. And this was something that was supported by all three parties, voted for by all three parties. I'm pleased to say that UKIP were the only party to vote against it, because we made the argument, of course, immigration, if it's controlled, is a good thing for the country. Of course, we want people who can come and work here to have proper work permits. We're happy with that, but we do not believe in open border immigration. And I think what's happened in the last few years is that right across the UK, not just in the big cities, but in the small market towns and villages, people have seen a massive change. We're seeing social dislocation, we're seeing police chiefs, we're seeing school teachers, we're seeing people saying we simply cannot cope with an influx on this scale, and for many, many people, they're finding it quite difficult to recognise the neighbourhoods in which they live. And I do believe that we need to have a freeze on immigration into this country for a 5-year period.
Really?
For a 5-year period, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't actually, because we'll have work permits, as I've just explained. But the reason for doing it is because we don't know, and David Blunkett admitted this, who's actually living in the country.
So
we need to get a grip on this issue. We need to know who is living here, and in future we have to have proper controls of who is coming into the country and who is leaving the country. Let's get a grip.
Nigel, can I just be clear here?
Yes.
Are you saying no more immigration, or are you saying that you have some people in?
No. What I'm
which
saying,
people, and how would you manage
what
that? So why would you let some people in and not others?
Well, I will answer you. What I am saying is we'll operate work permits where people come.
So it's not a freeze on immigration.
We'll operate work permits. Work permits and rights of settlement are two entirely different things. Just look at British workers working in New York or Chicago.
So they could come and work, but if they have a family, they're never allowed to stay, no matter how much they contribute.
In terms of settling, I want us to have, my party wants us to have a 5-year freeze until we sort the mess out and find out who is actually here.
We need that time to assess who is here legally, who is here illegally. The Home Office under David Blunkett admitted they had no idea how many people were in the country. So that's what we need the moratorium for. But that's quite different. It's quite different to saying we're putting up the shutters, we're not going to speak with the rest of the world. No, we're not talking about people working, we're talking about people settling. Of course we want to have a proper work permit system. You know, if Goldman Sachs wants some people to come and work in their London office from New York, they should do so on a work permit. If the fruit pickers in Kent genuinely need some short-term labour, they can do so using work permits. If a United Kingdom political party needs some help from a Spanish citizen, well, they can do so. They can do so using work permits. This is not a message. This is not a message that says we don't recognise in a globalised economy that people move and work all over the place, but it is a message that says that we cannot go on with a system whereby anybody that comes into the UK, pays their stamp for 12 months, is then entitled to all the rights and benefits that the rest of us are. That doesn't make sense. And you know, I've got a funny feeling that this policy of a 5-year moratorium isn't just going to be popular with our party. I have a feeling that outside, in the country, where it's really going to be popular is with the settled immigrant communities that exist in this country already. Because they're the ones who really are threatened by increasing social tensions. And amazing to see that in a recent opinion poll that we conducted, 80% of the British people said they would vote to leave the European Union if it meant we could get control of our borders back. You see, that's the point, isn't it? Whenever we're told we're somehow a single-issue party, the truth is we cannot have our own immigration and asylum policy and be a part of the European Union. And that is going to be a big campaigning message for us going out over the course of the next couple of years.